His Excellency, Dr. Haji Muhammad Ridwan Kamil, Governor of West Java, Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency, Dr. Chamkit Ray, Minister, Delegate of the Minister's Delegate attached to the Prime Minister and the Secretary of State for Industry, Science, Technology and Innovation, Cambodia, Tan Sri Michael Yeo, Chairman of ASEAN Leadership and Partnership Forum, President KSI, Strategic Institute for Asia Pacific, Mr. M. Arshad Rishad, Chairman of Indonesian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Kadin, Co-Chairman, ASEAN Leadership and Partnership Forum, Chair of the ASEAN Bank, Dr. Dino Patti Djalal, Founder of the Policy Community of Indonesia, FPCI, Co-Chair of ASEAN Economic Club, former Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs Indonesia, Dato' Sri Muhammad Iqbal Rota, Chairman of the Malaysian Global Business Council and the Economic Clubs of Kuala Lumpur, Deputy Chairman of KSI Strategic Institute for Asia Pacific. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Alhamdulillah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A very good evening to all of you. Welcome to the 2023 ASEAN Leadership and Partnership Forum Gala Dinner. At the outset, allow me, on behalf of the organizing committee, to express our sincere appreciation to the guests of honor for their presence here tonight. Before anything else, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the joint organizers, KSI Strategic Institute for Asia Pacific, KSI, ASEAN Business Advisory Council, ASEAN Bank, Kamar Dagang dan Industri Indonesia, Kadin, ASEAN Economic Club, AEC, Foreign Policy Community of Indonesia, PFCI, and as well as the supporting organizer for the economic clubs of Kuala Lumpur, ECKL, and the World Business Chamber, and most of all, the team of KSI for putting the event together. It would not have been possible without your tireless dedication and contribution. We would like to put it on record our appreciation and gratitude to both FPCL and Kadin for their assistance and guidance in preparing this event. I also want to thank everyone who came, our partners, remarkable speakers, moderators, and most of all, the delegate for your presence here tonight and tomorrow. Your interest and participation are very much appreciated by us. Ladies and gentlemen, the ASEAN region, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, was among the fastest growing economy of the world in 2022. The Asian Development Bank, ADB, predicted that the economic growth in Southeast Asia will equate to 5.5% for 2022. However, we enter 2023 with a host of evolving economic pressure and the geopolitical uncertainty, some of which will undoubtedly act as a drag on the growth globally. As such, the ADB recently revised the 2023 focus to 4.7% for ASEAN as the global demand continues to weaken. However, the growth rate of 4.7% in 2023 is very significant when you consider the expected global average is only 2.7 within the same period. Further reports suggest that ASEAN is on the track of becoming the world's largest market by 2030. That is within 7 years from today. With a predicted influx of investment and business set to benefit several industries. In 2023, stakeholders should expect manufacturing, tourism, and the digital economy to be the ASEAN most promising sector in the coming years. Tomorrow at the forum, we will hear more about ASEAN growth and challenges for the year ahead from our esteemed speaker. I would not want all of you to think only to work. No matter how tough time may be for us as individuals, there are always others who are less fortunate than us. I am sure we will overcome and face the challenges ahead and come out of it in a much better shape. I would like also to congratulate the recipient for all the outstanding achievement and excellence in their area of expertise. You all deserve the accolade. Finally, enjoy your dinner and make new friends. In the word of William Butler, there are no strangers among us, only friends you have not met yet. With that, I thank you very much. Bon appetit.
Thank you very much, Tan Sri Majid Khan, Chairman of KSI, for your very warm welcome remarks. Next, I would like to call upon the founder of the Foreign Policy Community of Indonesia, FPCI, who is also the co-chair of the ASEAN Economic Club, and the former Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs of Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Dr. Dino Patti Djalal.
I'll make this very quick. ASEAN is one of the most successful regional organizations in the world, right? That is widely recognized. What is the secret sauce? What is the secret sauce for ASEAN to be one of the most successful regional organizations in the world? I'm going to tell you in a minute, but I want to refer to at least 4 very quick events for you to understand what that secret sauce is. Event 1, and please let me be blunt about this, Indonesia used to hate Malaysia and Singapore. Confrontasi in 1960s, the aim was to destroy Malaysia and Singapore. You know, we sent troops to infiltrate the jungles of, Malaya, and we sent Marines to sabotage Singapore. But in 1967, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore, and also Thailand and Philippines, we signed an agreement that formed ASEAN. We forgot about that hatred and we moved on. Event number 2. ASEAN was wobbly in the beginning. Why? Because the Philippines did not accept Malaysia's claim of Sabah. That Sabah is part of Malaysia, right? And for so many years, that made ASEAN not whole. And what happened? At some point, the Philippines dropped that claim, and then things move on a lot faster within ASEAN. Event number 3. Vietnam used to hate ASEAN, right? We know this. After the Vietnam War, Vietnam thought that ASEAN was nothing but agents of the capitalist West, right? And Vietnam said, we don't want anything to do with ASEAN. You know, these capitalist Western stooges. What happened? 6 years later, after the Vietnam War ended, I forget the date exactly, Vietnam joined ASEAN. Rather than ASEAN thinking that, hey, we gotta push back Vietnam, ASEAN said, no, we gotta engage Vietnam. We gotta show Vietnam that ASEAN has goodwill and ASEAN can engage everybody no matter what the political system is. That's event number 3. Event number 4. Timor-Leste used to hate Indonesia. 1999, right? There was a UN referendum. 80% of Timorese chose to separate from Indonesia. It was very painful. I was part of that process. A lot of violence, chaos, destruction in East Timor. And they had every reason to hate Indonesia, which they did in the first 2 years. Guess what happened? Reconciliation. And Indonesia became the one country that pushed the hardest for Timor-Leste to be part of ASEAN. We pushed the hardest. And Timor-Leste now has been approved in principle, right, as a member of ASEAN. Those 4 events, what does that say about the secret sauce of ASEAN? 1, forward-looking attitude, right? What's past is past. We had a bad history, let's heal the wounds. Forward-looking attitude. 2, pragmatism, right? Pragmatism. A pragmatic way to approach conflicts and disputes and to mend relations and build a community. And 3rd, opportunity-driven, right? You have strategic opportunities, you have political opportunities, you have economic opportunities. Seize them, right? Be pragmatic and seize them and form ASEAN to become what it is today. So I think what we're doing today here is we are celebrating not just the success of the ASEAN Summit in Labuan Bajo, but we are also celebrating the ASEAN spirit, the ASEAN way, the ASEAN identity, and ASEAN future. And I think those who are given the award tonight, the presence of Ridwan Kamil, you know, one of the dynamic, hyper creative, modern Indonesian leader, right? Attest to that. and also Pak Irwan, who has built a strong local brand for Indonesian jamu, herbal, which has dominated Indonesian market for many decades. And he built that empire out of nothing with a strong spirit of entrepreneurialism. That is the ASEAN spirit that we celebrate today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dino, for giving us the secret sauce of how ASEAN can be successful, reminding us of our differences in the past, but also what draws us together today. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is now with great honor and privilege that I invite our guest of honor tonight to give us tonight's special address. Please put your hands together once again for the Governor of West Java, His Excellency, Dr. Mochamad Ridwan Kamil.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening to everybody. Excellency Dr. Shem Kate Reddy, Minister Delegate attached to Prime Minister and Secretary of State for Industry, Science and Technology and Innovation, Kingdom of Cambodia. My dear friend Bapak Tan Sri Majid Khan, Chairman of KSI Strategic Institute for Asia Pacific, Patan Sri Michael Yeo, Chairman for ASEAN Leadership and Partnership Forum, and also my colleague Bapak Dino Patti Djalal, founder of Foreign Policy Community of Indonesia and co-chair ASEAN Leadership and Partnership Forum, and all excellencies and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to briefly introduce myself. My name is Ridwan Kamil. I'm currently the governor of West Java, the biggest population in Indonesia. We have 50 million people. Just to give you the comparison size, West Java is twice the size of Australia population. Because I remember Australia celebrated the 25th million of its citizens, while we have twice of their populations. Within that 50 million, voters is around 35 million voters. So during gubernatorial campaign, it's much more difficult than Malaysian election. I have to convince 35 million voters. I have 20 million Instagram followers, the highest in the country after the president. So I remember I was visiting Stockholm during some gala dinner. The foreign minister of Sweden introduced me like, please welcome Ridwan Kamil, governor of West Java, Indonesia, whose Instagram followers are more than our population. Because Sweden is having only 10 million. And in today's political scene, social media playing a very big role. The changing attitude, how our people do business, consume information, and also how they use this means of communication to make decisions, including in political decision. We are having the national election next year, February 2024. In February, we will choose new president, vice president, and parliament also. Currently, I'm at top 4 for the the national elections, and number 1 for vice president candidate. Let's see what happens, yeah. But I'm hoping, new leadership, new optimism also contributing to ASEAN big time. As a leader, ladies and gentlemen, every day I have to give a sense of hope to my people. Okay? And in today's democracy full of social media, I always tell my team, let's combine the technocratic leadership, very scientific, to fix all the data, combined with populism leadership. We have to be at the heart of the people. So every week, I have to visit 1 or 2 per family of my society to give donation, to give time for talking with my citizens, responding to social media complaint, and so on and so on. So that's what basically I'm doing every day. And also, as a leader, we are doing this leadership in the era of disruption. So as a governor of 50 million, I have to be showing my people how West Java can adapt to what we call this disruption. Number 1, pandemic. Alhamdulillah, we survived the COVID. That's why now you don't have to wear mask, and WHO lifted the status of pandemic. You have to remember, during the COVID, the most vulnerable region was West Java, because I have to save the life of 50 million, Bapak Ibu. Jakarta, the capital now, is only 10 million people. Central Java, 30 million people. West Java, 50 million people. Daytime, no clue what was COVID, right? So it's a test of leadership during COVID. If I summarize one conclusion during this disruption, from my perspective, it's a test of leadership. I have to be there, with my people. I remember we were trying to produce our own vaccine, but to get approved, we need 3 stages of voluntary testing. 1 to people less than 20, second testing to people less than 100, and the third one testing the vaccine for 1,500 people. The third one was having trouble. So many hoax, fake news. So nobody wants to be a volunteer. But Dino, at that time, I said to myself, look, we have to get our own vaccine. That's why we need this. So I decided to be a volunteer. The governor himself, my wife, my family was like, worried. What happened if the governor got this experimental vaccine and turned into Spider-Man and, But as a leader, I have to do this because people will follow. So I make that 50-50 decision, as a volunteer for vaccine. And it turned out, because the governor, after the shot, looks healthy and strong, 1,500 volunteers came to do the test. And the rest of the story, West Java having its own vaccine production. There's one disruption that we survived. We lost 10 trillion rupiah during that time, because COVID was not only about the healthcare disruption, but also to our economic disruption. Second disruption that we have to respond is the digital disruption. So West Java is having a full speed on digital revolution. We are changing the livelihood of West Java people using what we call this digital revolution. In the city, I created a project called Smart City. In rural, we call a project called Digital Village. So in 5 years, we use the IoT to change the economy in rural. So if you travel in the village of West Java now, you will see we feed the fish using mobile phone. Press your mobile phone, sensor receive the message, and food projected to the fish pond. We feed the chicken using mobile phone now. We water the plant using the drones, also the drip irrigation handled by mobile phone. We catch the sea fish also assisted by apps, fish finder apps, for example. The last 5 years, we equip every village in West Java of e-commerce access. So people in rural physically can stay in rural, but they can make urban income because they now connect to global economy. And because of this, ladies and gentlemen, 2018, I was inherited around 1,000 poor village status. Because in Indonesia, we have three status: poor, underdeveloped, rural, developed rural, and advanced economy rural. So I inherited around 1,000 underdeveloped rural. With this digital revolution, within 4 years, from 1,000 underdeveloped village to 0 in December last year. So next month, Pak Dino, I will be awarded a medal by Pak Jokowi for the fastest region in Indonesia that eradicating the poor rural area because of digital revolution. And I use digital also to reform my bureaucracy, to fight corruption using AI. I tell you one app, I created the logic by myself. So every 4 p.m., all officials in West Java evaluated 360 degrees by the supervisor, by the colleague same level, and by the staff, input to the computer. Around 13 criteria for evaluation. X-axis is your capacity, your smartness, your education, your capability. Y-axis, you are evaluated your integrity, your way of leadership, and your productivity. So at the end of the day, if you see the screen, official in West Java will fall into 9 boxes. If you happen to be in box number 1, it means you are stupid and you are low in integrity and low productivity. If you fall in the box number 9, it means you are smart, high capacity, good integrity, high productivity. So now at the end of my term as a governor, 30,000 bureaucrats under my leadership are moving majority to the box number 9. So now every time as a governor, I try to find, education chair, for example. I will just ask this AI, Siri, give me 3 candidates for my education chair. And the computer will compute, come up with 3 best candidates. I can just close my eyes and pick any of the 3. So no more bribing in West Java for having a top official position because of digitalization. But you know, it is copied by majority of region in Indonesia, even by ministry in Jakarta also. So last year, because of this, we were awarded the best bureaucracy of Indonesia given to the West Java government, scoring the highest. So you see, as a leader, I see the disruption of digital into something as an opportunity and also preparing the defense, for the dark side of digital as well. Because digital also has a dark side. The rise of fake news, and this is very important. Fake news arise every political year. Rising 2014, big time 2019, and I'm assuming next year, 2024, fake news will also rise big time. So I created a government unit called Anti-Hoax Government Unit. I hire 20 young, smart millennials to track fake news that's circulating around my 50 million mobile phone of my people. So every Monday, we posted 5 top fake news circulating to make sure this is understood by my people. That's how I defend using digital, but the dark side of digital, responding productivity using digital, reforming my bureaucracy also using digital full time. The third disruption as a leader that I have to face is global warming, and it's happening. Bapak Ibu, West Java is losing 700 hectares land in the north of my province. Used to be land, now seawater. So the issue of global warming is not the issue of academia only now, but also become a real issue. My people ask, Pak Ridwan, I have the land certificate, but now no longer. And the official keep asking me to pay the tax. So how we define the tax for water, because the definition is about land tax. So what I've been doing, Bapak Ibu, the last 5 years as a leader, I created a series of policy. I said to my people, look, let's move on to less carbon lifestyle. That's my definition. You are having a good time, comfort zone of very heavy carbon lifestyle. So let's reduce the use of water plastic bottle, for example. I was the first government official who drive EV 3 years ago. Before Pak Jokowi made a presidential decree that all officials in Indonesia must drive EV. 3 years ago, I started, but that time, only 2 products, Hyundai and Tesla. Tesla is too expensive for government official to buy the official car. So I drove at that time Hyundai. And we encourage all investment of EV to come to West Java. The biggest production EV now in the whole ASEAN, if I'm not mistaken, is in my region, Karawang. The production also of EV battery also happen to be in my region, because my region holds 60% of industry of all Indonesia. So the nickel might be in Sulawesi, but the added value product called EV battery produced in West Java. We are also having the policy of maximizing the solar power. So as a governor, I make mandatory all the factory roof to be having, installing the solar panel. We are building the biggest solar farm in ASEAN, floating on the water, with Masdar company from Abu Dhabi. So why? Because West Java need to be the frontier of progressive renewable energy policy. Because Indonesia promised 2050 that will be net zero society. And to achieve that, you need a political will. because the most expensive thing coming from a leader is political will. So I produce this policy because, and this is a good news for ASEAN also. Stanford University did some research, Bapak Ibu, that Indonesia in the future will have 400 gigawatts potential power coming from water, solar, geothermal, wind. And 300 million of Indonesia population will consume only half. So the remaining half of 200 gigawatt will share it to ASEAN, we share it to the world forever. Yeah. So I think this is also how we respond to global warming with actions in West Java. The next disruption is geopolitical war. Yeah, Russia and Ukraine, Bapak Ibu, is still happening, affecting our food supply chain. I was speaking at Milken Global Conference in Los Angeles. We're discussing what is globalization 2.0. So we have now that term, globalization 2.0. 2.0 I'm taking from that conference. Globalization 2.0 is different from the current or previous globalization. Yeah. The previous globalization is multinational company as an actor, yeah, selling product to local. Yeah. But now it's the other way around. Local is hijacking the globalization to conquer the global. So I'm happy when I was in New York, for example, we have West Java bubble tea product called Teguk is opening an outlet in Manhattan. So I said to the owner, let's conquer America in 5 years, right? Instead of KFC, McDonald's coming to our kampung, let's do our kampung product to global. That's why I install e-commerce in every village in West Java to make sure you can stay in rural, but you can sell your product all the way to America. To achieve this, Pak, I created a school. We call it SMEs Export School, campus. Because 80% of West Java economy is SME. But they are thinking that, oh, we are too small, we are just doing a trade within West Java. I said, no, let's hijack this globalization. Even though you are a small product, you can export. Yeah, not just a big company. So if you see the screen, West Java is having what we call export campus. We are educating SMEs to be confident, yeah, to trade worldwide, even though your project is small. So that's my take on what is globalization 2.0. And last point, Bapak Ibu, globalization 2.0 also is concluded that managing global is too big, but regional bloc is manageable. Yeah. Because of that assumption, that's why ASEAN is very important. Now I think it's better we trade within our neighbor instead rely too much to countries like Russia, Ukraine that are too far, very vulnerable geopolitically. Might as well we strengthen our regional relationship. We call it ASEAN. ASEAN is 600 million strong people, yeah, producing also one of the highest growth compared to other regional bloc. If compared to AFTA, if compared to BRICS, if compared to other regional bloc, especially European Union, I think the growth of ASEAN is very strong. Indonesia is number 16 in G20 today. And if we keep our economy like now 5%, if our politics is always in a good stability, peaceful transferring power next year, if we don't have stunting, and if equip our human capital with strong education, Indonesia predicted in 2045, 2050, will be number 4 biggest economy. So that's a good news from Indonesia. Yeah. After China, India, US, then come Indonesia. So I think we have to be very optimistic. That's my point. Yeah. Second, we have to be adaptive and ready for disruption. That's what I've been telling you. Yeah. So West Java is basically that story. We are the highest growth in Java Island in terms of economy. We are always number 1 for investment destination the last 5 years. We have 60% industry in Indonesia, so many factories, yet we are surplus in producing rice because we are expanding also the land for rice field, creating a surplus in rice production. We are the best bureaucracy in Indonesia because of digital reform, and many things. So this September, I will end my term as a governor. After 5 years as a governor and before as a mayor of Bandung, the capital of West Java. And my legacy before ending September, West Java is receiving 510 awards, the highest in the country. Approval rating in West Java, 90.2%. 70% people of West Java would like me to extend the term as a governor. This is the record. So hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, again, let's strengthen our ASEAN cooperations. Globalization 2.0 means people will move around and strengthen more regional blocks, while we're also creating a defense, creating a strategy to survive the disruption, and we will see prosperity will come to all ASEAN nations. As Dino said also, now is really a great time to be together. And thank you again for inviting me for this lovely dinner. And more than happy to welcome you to Bandung. It's a bit nicer than Jakarta. Smaller, cooler, more cultural, so it's fun to live in the part of area. Thank you very much, and I hope we have a great dinner tonight. Thank you.